Welcome to a series of webinars in the framework of the Ecofamilies project. My name is Emma Silagi and I represent the National Center for Sustainable Consumption and Production in Romania. The Ecofamilies project is about addressing the families and adult educators and about switching to a more sustainable way of living. You may find more information on our website. You can see the link on the screen, and we also have a YouTube channel where you may watch a series of podcasts relevant to our project goals. The previous webinar was about SDGs and family roles, and today we will talk about waste management and circular economy at home, where we will learn about what is waste, which are the waste types, how do we manage household waste. We will show you some practical exercises you can apply in your daily life, and we will give you some tips on how to recycle correctly. The next webinar will be about energy and water conservation strategies. Thank you for your attention. So, first off, what is waste? Waste is something that is no longer wanted or needed for its original purpose, so the owner decides to discard it. However, waste is still a valuable resource if you use it smartly. It represents a loss of money and of resources if it is thrown away, but it can also save you the same resources if used correctly. There are, of course, many types of waste. We can classify it in different ways, but some simple way to think about it would be organic and inorganic. Some examples of organic waste would include garden waste or fruit peels, veggie ends, eggshells, coffee grounds, meat, plants, grass, and so on. So usually what results from plant matter or from food. And inorganic waste is usually substances that are made by humans. So it would be cardboard, it would be plastic, it would be glass, metal, electric equipment, and so on. Of course, there's other ways to classify waste as well. And maybe another simple way to think about it would be biodegradable and non-biodegradable. The biodegradable waste is usually moist, so it is also soft, it's porous, it is giving off an organic smell, and it will, of course, start to decompose after a while. So think about everything that we eat. This would be any type of food, fruit, vegetables, any peels from this, but of course not only. It would be the things that originate from natural substances such as wood, paper, including organic fabrics, so also cotton, linen, viscose, anything that is made from a natural fiber. And non-biodegradable waste is waste that will not go away even after hundreds of years. It will not decompose, it does not give a smell, it is synthetic, it is non-porous, and it usually can be recycled. So when we talk about these types of waste, the biodegradable waste, we will use it for biodegradation, which will probably result in compost or in energy. We will talk about this later. And the non-biodegradable waste is usually waste that we can turn into a different resource through a recycling process. So here we talk about anything very hard. Think about this, like glass, metal, cans, styrofoam. And as for fabrics, when we talk about polyester or acrylic or anything very stretchy, this is also synthetic. Of course, to make it even more comprehensive in categorizing, we have different types of household waste that we would usually generate as a family. Of course, we have the harmful waste. This is about medicine and about batteries, electronics, stuff like that. This has to be disposed usually in a special way. So if we talk about medicine, you usually take it back to a pharmacy. If we are talking about batteries, you can usually collect them in supermarkets. Then, of course, we have the recyclable waste that we just mentioned. So this is waste that we can use to reprocess and make different items out of it. So this is usually the waste that we also separate when we throw things away in the trash can. We have paper or cardboard, we have plastic, we have glass, and we have metal. So these are very much recyclable, and it's strongly advised to collect them separately in order to make it easier for them to be reused. Then, of course, we have the kitchen waste. This is waste that is resulted from the cooking process or from the eating process. So here we have any coffee or tea bags, we have the food leftovers, and we have the peels that result from fruit and vegetables or any other meat residue and so on. Then, of course, time passes everywhere, so very used furniture is a different type of waste. This is usually collected somewhere separately according to your municipality rules. Garden waste, it is very similar to kitchen waste, as in it is also very much biodegradable. And this is usually little leftovers from plants. It is about the earth, the grass clippings, the leaves that fall out from the garden, and so on. Used textiles. So textiles is also a different category of waste, since it is usually also recyclable or can be reused in some sort of ways. You can even reuse it at home if you want to be creative. But we're talking about clothing, we're talking about towels, we're talking about bedding and pillows. And of course, there's other types of waste that cannot unfortunately be reused. So we talked about paper and plastic being reusable. However, we cannot reuse used tissue. So any tissue, paper, cardboard, and so on that got very dirty or is now wet, it cannot be recycled, unfortunately. And the same for plastic bags, because it is a very thin material. However, old plastic bags are usually nowadays made from biodegradable plastic, so this will be also thrown away in the biodegradable bin. So one practical exercise that I propose for you would be to try to make your own waste diary for a week. So you would write every family member name for every day and the type of waste that you have generated according to the categories presented earlier. You would put in the quantity in this column, in the quantity column, and of course you would talk about the type of method that you use to dispose of it. So did you recycle it? Did you compost it? Did you just throw it into regular trash? Think about if you can reuse it at home, and see if you can come up with any alternative solution. And then this exercise will help you try to visualize and understand how much waste you are generating in a day or in a week, and maybe it will give you other ways to think about how to use this waste in a better way. Of course, we are all generating waste all the time, and a lot of it, so that's why it's a very big problem. How do we manage it? We have different steps in this pyramid. You can see it starts with the reduce. So if we are talking about reducing, this would be the first option that I would suggest to you, because it has the best impact. So to try to say no and to reduce as much waste as possible. So even in buying products, you can try to opt for products that do not have a cover, or you do not have to throw anything away from it. Then of course we can reuse. So the reuse is also very powerful, but not as powerful as reducing. And it is even easier to say no and to just reduce rather than reuse, because reuse will have to make you think about ways where you can reuse it. Of course, it is a very good way to try to avoid waste. Then if we cannot reduce or reuse, we are recycling or composting, of course, according to the biodegradability factor or not. Afterwards, recovering. This is called it's about incineration. So what we can burn and recover some energy out of it, we can burn. However, this is not a very, very sustainable way to recycle. It's like a very inferior way of recycling, and you only do it whenever you do not have the option of recycling, reusing, or reducing. And of course, at the end, we dispose. So this is just throwing in the trash and then landfilling, which is very undesirable. So when we talk about circular economy, this could sound like a harsh term, but it's not as hard to understand for a family. So circular economy, it can be adopted at home in a simple way. So we just have to try to apply the principles of circular economy in a household by minimizing waste, reusing materials, conserving water and energy, and buying less. And of course, when buying, to try to support sustainable production. And of course, this circular economy, it involves rethinking consumption habits, trying to prioritize repair and reuse, and considering the long-term impact of considering the long-term impact of the purchases that we make on the environment. So of course, to see if we really need some sort of objects, and if we do need them, if there's any sources that we can buy it from to make it more sustainable and to be better for the environment. So some ways that you can avoid some waste and become a more sustainable consumer. You can try to shop local, so to support local economy, small business people, creators, and so on, food markets, to try to look for these products that are made in the community first. Then you can try to plan your meals and avoid some food waste. You can make an everyday menu with your kids, or a week menu if you would like, and then you would make your grocery list according to this. You can become a sustainable consumer, so try to opt for secondhand products and household goods, clothing. There's a lot of secondhand markets everywhere available to everyone. You can even sell your own items secondhand to other people. And also to try to buy products that are built to last longer rather than using disposable products. So this very simple example would be to buy a regular plate and bring regular plates when you need to eat somewhere rather than using disposable plates. And of course, to try to repair instead of replace. So if something gets broken, try to fix it before you need to buy and throw away the old item and buy a new one. And of course, to use reusable products. As I've said, the paper plates are not a great option. You can use reusable products in very, very many places, especially connected to food. So we can use the mugs, we can use reusable straws, the forks, the knives. Everywhere we go and we have to eat, we have to opt for these options to generate less waste. And of course, if we can reuse, some ideas for reusing plastic packaging as a pot. You can reuse electronic components, of course, maybe not yourself, but you can donate it to a center that does that. You can refurnish the furniture. You can reuse glass packaging in many ways. You can try to reuse electronic equipment. So here we're talking about stuff like headphones, like chargers. So you don't need to buy a new set for every single phone that you buy. And of course, clothing and textiles, you can upcycle it in all sorts of ways, or you can use it as rags in your house. You can also use a meal planner. This is a great way to reduce food waste. You can try to plan around seasonal and local products, as these have the least impact. They are not brought in from somewhere else, so there's no transportation, and they're grown in soil that is meant for them to grow in a certain season, so there's no use for pesticides or any fertilizers to make these products grow faster. You can use at least 2 meals that use the same ingredient and buy it in bulk, so avoid some packaging waste. You can try to dedicate one dinner to using some leftovers. You can really think about the list of shopping that you plan to see if you can use one ingredient in more ways, and if you can buy in a less packaged way. And of course, you can batch cook, and then you can use reusable containers to eat these lunches and so on in different places. Of course, we also mentioned recycling earlier. I promised that I would get back to you on this. Waste recycling, it is about transforming waste into new materials. It is a very important process. However, it has some pitfalls, so not every material can be recycled. So one packaging material that is made from 2 different materials, like you can see a chip bag, for example. This is made out of plastic and aluminum foil, and it's extremely thin, so this cannot be recycled, unfortunately. However, we also need to participate in the recycling process by following some very important steps. We need to sort our recyclable waste separate from our non-recyclable waste, and we need to clean the packaging that we want to be recycled. So we cannot give yogurt, for example. You have a little box, right, of yogurt. This one you would need to rinse it out before you would throw it in the recycling bin in order to facilitate the recycling process. This process has more steps, as you can see. It is about sorting, cleaning, processing, manufacturing of the new raw materials, and then distributing of the recycling process. Of course, as I mentioned, we have more steps that we have to do in order to be able to recycle something. So first of all, we need to understand the local recycling rules. So you need to understand which bins are for what, or what special places are dedicated for recycling. This can vary in every city. Then, of course, you need to clean these recyclables before. I'm not talking about thoroughly washing them. I'm talking about rinsing them before throwing away. We need to sort them. And then, of course, we need to try to set a routine and a way to check that everybody is following the rules of recycling in the house. So what you can recycle, it is paper and cardboards, so stuff like newspaper, cereal boxes, toilet rolls, and so on. You can recycle plastic bottles, containers, glass jars, glass bottles, plastic bottles, of course, metal cans from soda, from food tins. We can recycle textiles as well, but usually you have to take them to a textile collecting point, so not throw them in the regular recycling bin. This will not get recycled. Same for electronics and batteries. There's usually points in every city where you can take this kind of equipment and they will recycle it specifically. And the used cooking oil, which you would take to a gas station. You have to try to remove impurities from the cooking oil and to collect it in a separate jar that you would keep somewhere in your kitchen. And what you cannot recycle, as I said, any contaminated cardboard, so like a greasy pizza box, you cannot recycle this. Of course, food or liquid, we cannot recycle this as it is biodegradable. You cannot recycle ceramics, mirrors, or broken glass. You have the problem with the mixed materials, as I've mentioned. So any Tetra Pak bottle or any chip bag that is made from two-layered materials that are very, very strongly glued together, this you will not be able to recycle, unfortunately. You cannot recycle toothpaste tubes, snack wrappers, and blister packs from medicine for the same reason. And here are some tips for reducing household waste. They can relate to smart shopping, so you can bring reusable cloth bags, containers, and jars when shopping. Try to even find some refillable zero waste shops in your area where you can bring these containers. Buy in bulk if you can to reduce packaging, so bigger items, bigger quantities in one single packaging instead of multiple smaller packages. Try to shop local if you can at markets and avoid the items with a lot of plastic and mixed material packaging. As we've discussed, these are not recyclable. You can also make less food waste by planning meals and making better shopping lists, even using the weekly meal planner that I presented to you earlier, and store food properly to keep it fresh for a longer time. You can use leftovers creatively before they spoil, or any food that is about to spoil in a meal. You can even make this a family activity that involves the kids as well. You can freeze extra food that you've cooked and you're not able to eat. Check the expiration dates of products before you buy them, of course, and compost, if you can, the fruits and the veggies that you would normally throw away. You can also have a better waste habits at home by paying more attention to recycling. So this is about rinsing the recyclables and sorting them correctly. To try to flatten the boxes to save space when putting them in the garbage. Of course, learn your local recycling rules and try to separate the bin of electronic waste, of batteries, light bulbs, and so on, and take them to the correct place for recycling. You can, of course, use also some home products that are more sustainable, such as bar soap instead of regular soap, liquid soap, and refillable soap instead of buying a new hard plastic packaging for every single liquid soap that you use. You can try to use cloth napkins and towels instead of paper napkins. You can even use old cloths that you're not using on your body or on your bed and so on as cleaning rags or as cloth napkins instead of using paper. Try to buy some natural fiber clothing instead of synthetic clothing, as this is biodegradable and it is also it's coming from a renewable resource, and it's also friendlier to your skin. And one very, very important tip about caring for your clothes, this will also prolong the lifetime of your clothes if used correctly. So there's no need to wash clothes, some clothes of course, after every single time that you wear them. For example, jeans and pants can be worn like way more than once before washing them. And you do not need to wash in higher than 30 degrees unless you are washing underwear or bed linens or towels. So if you do this already, it is a big plus. And the biggest plus would be to not use a dryer unless you really have to, because this consumes a lot of energy on the first hand. And on the second hand, it is also damaging the clothing way faster than air drying. And of course, air drying is free, so you can always opt for this option. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar. I hope that I have given you some important and interesting information, and I invite you to follow the next one. Thank you so much.